I'd rather that not happen, Joe. But do you fear death at all?
No, I have absolutely no fear of death. I never have, actually, since my near-death experience.
What do you think happens?
What I think happens, it's like I have no absolute belief in heaven or hell. I think we just progress into a new form of what we are. And I think the real surprise, what heaven and hell is, I've given a lot of thought to this. If when you're dead, you find out that all the people you lived and interacted with are all part of you. The reason that would be a good thing is because if we as entities learn by experience, there's no way of knowing if the experience is valid or not, if all we're getting is our perception of it. The only way you can know if experience was valid and had something beneficial generated by it would be if we were not only the person in the experience, but all persons in the experience. In other words, we would have to have every perspective of all the people we care about that we're part of in that experience. So in death, I would welcome the fact of knowing that all the people I was heavily engaged with my entire life were all just extensions of me. That's the only way of getting every perspective of every action you've ever taken, would be to have the perceptions of all those you care most for, or you care about, or you're part of, or your family with, or you worked with, or all of that. And I think that's true. I think that's what we find out. That's the big surprise at death. Everything we experienced has been perceived, and we get all of those perceived experiences from everybody that we've ever been part of. So in a holistic sense, we're not just us. We're all the people we've lived with and cared about. So I cannot imagine a worse hell than to treat people like shit your whole life and to find out all the damage you did and not be able to rectify that. To feel their pain. Everything, all the pain and all the bad experience and all the frustration and upset that you've given, the sickness that you've delivered to them, and not be able to fix it and know that it was just the major part of you. I think that's hell and whatever. And not so much the other. I think heaven is knowing that you did everything you possibly could to soften the impact of life on the people you care about. And the people that are important to you in your entire lifetime. So people have a way of making up for their failures by realizing that and understanding that it's not just them. It's everybody they're in contact with. When they do something to themselves, to denigrate themselves, they're doing it to all the people who care about them. They're all part of the same, you're all part of the same person, the same entity.
One ecosystem.
Yeah. It's a learning system. And I think it's the only way to really learn is to know all the perceptions that people who cared about you had when you did A or B or C. The only way to learn from it is to know what was wrong about it, what was right about it, how it affected people that were observing it. I think that's true learning. And that may be a design. I don't think it's a flaw. I think it's a design in the reality of which we all are part of something larger. And you can call it God or whatever you want, but it's something much larger. And it deals with all possibilities. I mean, there's lots of people that exist. I say people. There's lots of entities that exist across the cosmos. What if all that's true? We think very little of ourselves if we act the way we are versus being better at it or greater at it or, I don't know. Pay attention.
That's some deep thought. And that's the first time I've ever heard that, and that makes a hell of a lot of sense.
Well, it makes sense to me.
Thank you.
Anyway, you're welcome.
I mean, just that segment alone is motivation for people to do the right thing.
But one would hope so. There are still those that think that's better, more power is better, and why do I want to get involved in that foolishness? Well, they'll find out. I think that's hell to pay. That's what it is later.
Wow. Well, Joe, I just want to say thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you for coming on and sharing everything that you've shared. And is the Monroe Institute,
Oh, it's a
is
great
that
place.
open enrollment? Can anybody sign up?
Oh, anybody can sign up.